Hello to the numbers game, SuperCoach. I'm PommyInOz. I am waiting for Lekdog. Lekdog is checking into a hotel, so he's going to be in a new background, new scenario. Welcome to everyone in the chat. I can see Tiger Times in there. Langy, how are you diddling? Are you okay, my friend? Looking forward to this one. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the teams. We're going to look at the projected teams as well. See if there's any value. When Lekdog gets in about 10 minutes, we can pick his brains as well. We'll look at some teams. We'll look at some matchups. We'll look at mine and Lekdog's teams, dissect that, do some real-time last-minute questions, and hopefully just have a little bit of fun. I'm thinking an hour-long show, 40 minutes of picking Lekdog's brains, which is exciting, so we can do that together. Hope everyone is ready for SuperCoach. It's going to be a big year. Spot on Tiger Time as well. What a horrible day in football as well. Dennis Cometti, the voice of the AFL, passing away today. So our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. May he rest in peace. We've got round 0 teams though, which is very exciting. So let's have a look-see. So if I do this, this should go bang. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. So here we are. These are the teams at this stage in the season. So this was Sydney's team. You can see there, Jai Sarong, an interesting selection there. Very interesting, I think, for you SuperCoach watchers at home, because obviously he is a cheap rookie player there. 119. G'day, Global. How are you, mate? Long time no see. No Dirkson's annoying. Hey, Rainer, good to see you, mate. So, bit of value there. Old Sarong here. Very good. Outside of that, no real surprises. Malcolm Rosas might be an intriguing one when you look at points per minute. Which could always be interesting. G'day, Corey. G'day, Paul. How are you? So they could be interesting. If we go back, you're copying my team, mate. I'm not the expert at SuperCoach. Lekdog is far smarter than me. I am just vibes, Atouche. I am pure vibes when I play this game. I am trying to take it serious though, so hopefully I will be better for it. Very interesting that if we go to the start of the week, points per minute, Brodie Grundy, 1.2 points per minute played, which is quite exciting, I think. Isaac Heaney is another one. Golden went at 1. Heaney went at 1.1. Interesting there. Malcolm Rosas went at 0.26. Chad Warner in the game just gone at 0.5, so he's probably in a void. But Jai Sarong, pretty impressive. If you look at Jai Sarong's numbers as well as the break even that was released this week, that is quite entertaining as well, because he is really primed, you would have thought, with a break even of 22. The early buys are a killer, aren't they, Global? Jai Sarong, probably the pick of the bunch there. Outside of that, I don't know what anyone else is thinking, but I don't really think Nick Blakey is the guy that I'm looking at. Concerned that he was just under the 1 points per minute in the week just gone. I'm hoping that that's more of a just a practice game. Carlton's team, though, very strong, has to be said. Big one for SuperCoach watchers. Daniel, g'day, mate. Good to see you, mate. I hope you're doing well. Jagger Smith, named in the team in the forward pocket. So that is a really entertaining one. That he should be in 99% of the teams. For those watching at home as well, Jagger went at a staggering 1.2 points per minute at the week just gone. Ollie Holland's name back on the wing. A few people have been asking about Ollie Holland's. Just under a point per game, per minute. in recently. Harry Dean is another cheapie as well. Hasn't really set the world alight. I think that's a bit of a risk if you ask me. But Harry Dean is, I'm pretty sure he's awkwardly priced. Yeah, 194, probably an avoid. But, as we predicted, I said we'd play dual ruckman. As you can see, Liam Reedy. Yeah, TL, mate. I'll give you the updated at the minute, my friend, but I think it's around that, yeah. Mate, 13% of people have lost the plot, mate, in Australia at the minute. But Liam Reedy, I'm really intrigued by that selection there because he is value, 0.8 points per minute. I actually think that's quite a bit of value, so he is definitely in the team. Then what I wanted to show you, chat, is if I go to this screen, AFL You know what? I had it up all day, chat, and I've just closed the tab because I am a pom moron. But if we go to this one here, you know what? I don't mind it because Global Sports, there's rumours he's going to play on the wing and on the ball. So if you look at how Carlton are playing, last week he scored over a point a game, which I don't mind as well. And if you look at Elijah as well, he's in that finicky price of 277. So that will be, I mean, it's a bold play, isn't it? I might wait and see on Lidge, but I love it. The other games we've got to worry about. Hey, D, how are you? The other ones we've got to worry about are Gold Coast. So Gold Coast have announced Zeke Hewland will play. Now, where does everyone stand on Zeke Hewland? So he has been confirmed to pay. Sam Walsh, definite lock, Skag Monkey. Definite lock. Definite lock. Definite lock. Where does everyone stand on Zeke Hewland? So my reservations with Zeke Hewland are genuinely just his price. Like, he is playing, though, which is a big thing. But Zeke Hewland, he's that awkward price, isn't he? That 200k type price. Rowe looks like it's pretty much confirmed that he's got minutes. And Dimmer was quite hard on that. Scoring in the preseason hasn't been brilliant, though. I feel like he's an avoid. I don't know what you guys and girls think in chat. Where do you stand on Zeke Hewland in your teams? Because, yeah, I agree, Global. Like, I just feel that's a lot of money with, I don't think, much scoring opportunity. He's not going to get a lot of the ball. And based on the preseason as well, he played more of an auxiliary role. Does anyone know if it locks out round 0? From memory, I have the rules here. Give me a sec. I've got it in my spreadsheet. So it does not count towards your total store and players don't lock, so allowing for unlimited changes to round 1. So hopefully that answers your question. Leo Lombard, great call, Global. I'm a big fan of this guy here. I think that could be, you know, a selection there. Christian Petrarca, wherever you guys stand on him, he had a real strong. No Sizzler is a pick over Zeke. What does that mean? Imagine that. I don't get it. Is there a delay seeing it on there? But it should be real time in the chat. But no drama, mate. I've got you, mate. I've got you. So looking at this, like if you look at this weekend, Leo Lombard scored 0.68 minutes played, right? Only played 90% of the game. What's everyone's thoughts as well? While you're here on Petrarca, like he's gone. Looking at the projected scores in his first practice game, it was about 0.9 points per minute. Looking at last week, 0.8. That's going to be interesting. I've got Grill in my team. Looking at that as well, it would be really entertaining. I think Lombard is an absolute selection and a half. Super. I love you, man. Good to see you as well back in chat, man. Missed you. Missed your humour. Sam Claus is an intriguing one. He was going at just under a point per minute played. You're not picking track. I'll give a spoiler to my team at the end. I've gone hard on the track, dog. Sam Clausey, though, at 346, playing that new role at halfback has been an intriguing one. I wonder how that goes in the real season, but this round 0 fixture, he's definitely on my radar. Don't know about you guys in chat, but he's definitely one that I'm really invested in. And if we go up to Geelong, this is their predicted team. Geelong were a really entertaining side I thought in pre-season, because they're that team that just spreads their wealth, don't they? They spread it across a lot of departments. Very interesting here that you can see they haven't suggested Stevens is in. And Stevens is probably their best performer in the off-season. He's their best performer in the off-season. You know what? I think Anderson's going to go quite well this year. I've got a Butters and Anderson fetish this year, Super Blue, because they both look like they've added. They're going to slot across half forward to add goals to their game. But with Geelong, George Stevens was the big guy in that. But Tanner Braun, named in this team across halfback, named in this team provisionally as well, had a very strong preseason in both games. He looks like a walk-up start. Where are you guys on the Tanner Braun situation? He's an awkward price at 276, but he's massively rose in there. Where's everyone on the Tanner Braun situation? I agree, Sue, but I think with Ral out, it really does help. But I'm a huge Tanner Braun man. It was an interesting game, that one, wasn't it? I mean, when you're looking at premiums, I'm more inclined to spend the money on Sarong or Butters. I don't know where you stand with that, Super Blue. But that's where I am with him. But with Geelong, I mean, looking at Max Holmes, he had a strong game last week. But Tanner Braun was one of the top scorers, so was Danger. I always find Geelong looking at it, and here he is, the main man.
Hey, mate.
Hello, Lek.
How are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm well. I'm actually going to grab a lower to the ground chair. It's not a great streaming setup. Keep talking.
Yeah, so we're just going through Lekdog, the provisional teams, and chat are having their say. You prefer McCluggage? I'm a big Scottish handbag man. Lekdog, Tanner Braun, one of the top scorers in the pre-season for Geelong.
Luck.
We've talked about him a lot in the last couple of shows. Is he a shoe-in for the team?
Yeah, lock him in. Playing that half-back role, can rotate mid, dominated against the Blues in terms of scoring. The biggest issue with someone like him is at 280k, he needs to score well to gain price, and also he will be laid out multiple times for Geelong. So if you can balance those two things, but yeah, he's a bloody lock.
A few people asking in the chat, where do you stand on Noah Anderson? We've just done Gold Coast. Are you a Noah Anderson boy?
Yeah.
Obviously, no Rao.
Yeah, no, the Rao thing doesn't bother me. I picked him last year to start my year and had him all season. He's just that solid 120 plus. He's probably not a captaincy option, but he's just got a really high floor. So Noah Anderson, I think, is a really underpicked player year after year. So I'm very supportive of picking Noah Anderson, and there's a decent chance he does end up in my team to start anyway.
So with Geelong, am I right in thinking there's a lot of players that are just very scary with Geelong? Because they're all like in that 500 value, aren't they? There's not many, apart from Tanner, that doesn't scream value, does there?
No, it's pretty much Tanner or bust for the Cats. I mean, some people might talk themselves into a Bailey Smith, and he's going to be a really interesting point of difference because he's not going to have many people pick him. What you find in Supercoach is if a player was forward 1 year and then becomes mid only the next year, they're really underselected. He may score really well, but there's just always question marks with him. So pretty much you go through their list top to toe, and it's basically just Tanner Bruin who's interesting.
Lekdog, your audio as you talk has like a demonic voice.
Does it? I do have the phone leaned up against a some sort of metallic bowl. It might be ringing.
Just talk.
Hello.
Oh, it's gone.
It was the metal bowl. Right, the phone was leaning on a metal bowl that was vibrating.
That was giving me flashbacks.
What, to selection panel?
No, it was just giving me flashbacks to my childhood. GWS Lekdog. Looking at the Giants here, this is their predicted team according to AFL.com. GWS, in the game just gone, they were incredible. They didn't really have the greatest game, but we did see what they're trying to do in the terms of bringing players through. Anyone like jump out at you at the Giants area?
Yeah, so there's an interesting pick. It's a risky pick. It's in that Tanner Bruin realm. It's the Harry Ralston pick, which interests me a lot in draft. Risky in classic, but he's the guy who sees benefit at centre bounce attendances or whatever we're calling them now when the guys are out. So he's an interesting one. Your boy Toby Green has his ownership has started to skyrocket a little bit.
It's come back halfway through.
Okay, it keeps switching my microphone. Are we good?
That's perfect.
It keeps disconnecting. Yeah, it just keeps disconnecting my headphones.
There, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, your boy Toby Green is skyrocketing ownership. He's interesting at under 400k. Whitfield's a lock if you want to pick him. Oliver has some risk, but I understand the selection. So I guess the ones that jump out for me are Ralston, Toby Green, and is Finn Callaghan going to be fit for round one?
So he's a test according to AFL.com. I mean,
tempting.
You mentioned Toby Green there. He was the top scorer for them this week, and he had limited time on the ground, only 69%. And Kingsley has confirmed that's going to be his permanent role.
Yeah, okay.
For this year. Do you think there's value there? Because obviously we're looking for that forward connection, aren't we?
I mean, there's always value there. It's always value if you've got guaranteed midfield time to go with your forward time. Yeah, of all the value guys on the Giants, it's probably Toby Green presents the most realistic value, and he's up and down as a scorer. But if it's locked in, we like him.
Mate, we love a lock. And I'm glad we fixed your sound. Tell you what, at first I thought it was me because Lekdog was coming in delayed, so I'm glad you said it. I was maybe...
Let me know if it disconnects because it keeps switching my headphones, so.
Yeah, I forced it on my end. That's why you got that notification.
Yeah, great.
I could see it. It kept telling me that it was going between your phone and your headset. So I've just deleted the other one from the system. But Hawthorn were an intriguing one, I thought, in their game because they didn't have the best game, but we did get kind of a look of what life looks like without William Day. Good day, Teresa. How you doing? I did want to talk about Jarman Impey, though. Like, both of the games he's scored pretty well, and we're looking at PODs. Where do you stand on Impey?
Yeah, Impey's a guy that has had history of scoring in Supercoach. I don't know off the top of my head what his price is. I'm going to guess it's around 450k would be my guess.
Yeah, you would be spot on, Lekdog, 461.
So there's value there. I like finding guys with value, but he probably needs to push a 95 plus average at that price, and I'm not totally confident he can consistently do that. I think the guy that it really interests me from Hawthorn is probably Connor McDonald, who I believe is available as a forward. And I reckon if I'm guessing again, it's about
He is.
370k would be my guess. Um,
I can the con dog
I'm
380.
pretty good. I'm
Yeah,
pretty good at knowing vaguely what
there
people
it
will
is.
be priced at. So he's a very interesting one in that Will Day shaped hole. He got, I think he got a knock, didn't he, during the game, or was that the other guy
Yeah.
that sounds exactly like him?
They had a few little outs in that game. He is scheduled to play though, so they had a clean bill of health, as you can see here. Cam McKenzie was the one who you thought went off with the. He went off with the did the concussion test, which looked like the American drink driving
Yeah.
test. He was trying to walk across a straight line with his finger on his nose, and he failed that. So he is out, but Connor's totally fine. Question coming in from Super Blue. I wanted to ask you this as well. So great minds think alike, Super Blue. Weddle played a lot of minutes in that day, inside, outside. It didn't exactly take off.
Mm.
Where do you stand on Weddle? Because I feel like just from a player perspective, not super coach, if I was the Hawthorn coach, I would be looking at Weddle for that role because I think they're similar types of players.
He's a guy that comes up a lot in draft questions. He wasn't in my top 100. People wanted to know why. He is, I think, if you're going to go for like the breakout Hawthorn player, you go with the guy that is currently named on the ball in Connor McDonald. One of them will break out. It could very well be Weddle, but given the role and opportunity afforded to McDonald, I'll probably prefer him. But again, I'm not going to sit here and talk anyone out of points of difference if they want to select them. I'm just trying to mitigate risks in my own team. Weddle has a pretty high scoring ceiling, but his role can also, you know, being on the wing's not great. We know he can go behind the ball. When he does, he scores well. Probably too many question marks for my personal taste.
Where do you stand on the rucks as
Yeah.
well, Lekdog? Because we covered the best two ruckmen in the preseason were Tim English and Brodie Grundy.
Yeah, the athletic guys. Well, Tim English has been my R1 all preseason, so I'll give you a hint that I'm pro Tim English. And I think you have to go a cheap second ruck. I just don't know exactly who that is yet. I think the obvious answer is Lockie McAndrew. There's some risk in that, but for me, it's get one of the expensive guys, and I don't care who it is, if it's Gorn or if it's Grundy or if it's English, and then I'm going cheap at R2 and R3 personally.
Well, I mean, we'll look at the Doggies team. The Doggies were a scorer's delight this week, and I think they're probably the biggest risk, would you say, at the minute? Because if they play like that, everyone scores well. And like looking at it, nearly just under 10 went at 0.8 or more points per minute, which is incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. But some big shout outs there. Tim English was huge, but everyone's talked about him. And he did. I thought if I was doing a 3-2-1 Brownlow vote for that game, he would have been probably my 2 vote. Riley Sanders was like another level this game.
Yeah, as my Bulldogs friends put it, he's going to be really good for Tasmania in a couple of years. As a forward option, I think he was a lot cheaper last year, and he was picked, and it was kind of disappointing. But you know, there's a decent chance that that this is the breakout year for him. I think what's this? His third year? Is this his third year? Fourth year? Third year or fourth year? One of them.
Third year. I think it's his third. It doesn't feel that long ago. I did a draft profile on Riley Sanders.
So the Bulldogs, and I could be butchering this stat, but I believe they generally have about 6 players who go 100 plus every year. And it's your Bonts, your Englishes, your Liberatores, and your whoever else is in that team. Bont, we know, is a lock for that. Tim English is pretty much a lock for that. Sam Darcy seems likely he could go 100 plus. Tom Liberatore, is this the year he drops off? Ed Richards probably gets a boost there. So we're probably looking for one more guy that eats up a lot of those points. And it's either going to be, in my opinion, Joel Frazier or Riley Sanders. So it just depends. Do you want the security of Frazier playing sort of halfback, rotating into the midfield, or do you want the upside of Riley Sanders playing midfield and rotating into the forward line and kicking goals?
Like Super Blue asked, Mason Cox, the Coxilla. So I actually found this interesting because the WA papers are reporting they are going to go a 2-ruck system. AFL don't agree with them. They think it's still Darcy. But I was reading the Western Australian an article where they said that Mason Cox is basically in a dogfight with Darcy for that ruck role. If Mason Cox did play, I mean, my gut is no, but would you look at Mason Cox?
No. No is the correct answer. I own Mason Cox in a dynasty league. So I've been fielding his 45 points for the last couple of years. And at 240k, the way he plays, which is predominantly forward with some pinch hitting ruck, he just doesn't score enough. And while that's the right idea for a cheap second ruckman, he just won't score enough to change his price in a positive way. So it's the right idea. It's the wrong player.
Lek, I do want this from you because I'll give you a shortcut. Skag Monkey, I have got Selly in my team. I am a big Selwood man. I loved him in the MSD, the mid-season draft. What are your thoughts on Selwood? And what are your thoughts as well on Croft? Croft looked like that perfect foil up top as the third forward. Thinking Darcy comes in, that may affect his security, but he was feasting, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But the role just typically isn't a super coach one. Selwood is the guy that last year in the mid-season draft, I don't have my laptop in front of me because I've just been in transit, but he was one of the top scoring, if not the top scoring super coach player in the next tier down from AFL in that mid-season draft. So Selwood's a bloody lock. And the way the Bulldogs operate off when they pick up these guys and they immediately inject them or, within 6 months inject them into the team, they're pretty safe for job security. So a guy like Selwood is an absolute lock for our Supercoach teams. I think, is he defensive eligible or is he a mid? I'm not sure.
I can tell you because I'm looking at my team. He is D. He's a pure D, mate. Yeah. Pure defender.
We've got it. I had a guy tweet me, JG, today. He always does the preseason check-in, and he was asking if only 2 premiums in defence and all rookies for the rest of the defence is too much. But if they're going to gift us these guys like a Selwood in defence, I think we have to bloody pick them. I think you have to go shallow in defence and pick these guys if they're available.
Mate, I think. I mean, is it foolish of me? I've got 2 dogs potentially on my bench in the D. I've also got Lockie Jacques because I was a big fan of him in his draft year.
I think he's debuting, isn't he? They've confirmed that, haven't they?
Yeah, I've kind of gone against what you've taught me. Don't ever pick with my heart, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm picking 2 guys."
You can pick rookies with your heart. I think that's fine.
This is a good one because it leads us on to Brisbane. Zane Zakowski, massive in the draft. He was Zakowski came in this game, looked incredible. It has to be said. In pre-season, I thought both him and Cody Curtin really impressed me. Just how developed they've been, especially Cody Curtin in 6 months, absolutely crazy. But Big Zane playing down the back and then pinch hitting the ruck, another 119 ruck. Is that a good loop option there, Lekdog? I remember you saying if you're going to have R3, try and get him as a dual position. That kind of opens up a defensive slot for you as well, doesn't it?
It does. It's easier if it's a forward ruck just purely because there are more forward rucks and probably more forward rucks that play. I think there'd only be maybe 2 defense rucks. So ZZ, he's not at the top of my loophole list. I don't think he's going to play. Like they've got their entire second tier team. Their VFL team would beat half the AFL teams. Like There was that forward, Will McLaughlin, is that his name? Will McLaughlin looked like he was a seasoned AFL player in that practice match as well. So they've just got elite guys who aren't going to get into the team this year.
Will McLaughlin was my MSD for Carlton, if you remember. I was huge on Will. Yeah. And unfortunately, we didn't get him.
Jeez,
but
we could use him.
Shout out to him. And I do like a little bit of the Mac dog. Poet asks about St Kilda, which leads us on to that final game in round 0. Just remember, they don't count, so there's no lockout for round 0. They go towards your total. They don't go towards your total score. I read the rules out earlier.
They do, yeah. They do go towards the player's price, but not towards rankings and all that stuff.
So Skilda, he's asking about Big Windhager. So Windhager is their kind of emergency tagger, isn't he? In pre-season, obviously you don't tag in pre-season. I mean, well, you can do, but no one did do a tag. Is he at risk, though? Because he did look really good, it has to be said. Someone stole my quote in the media today where I said that the depth is the most important thing in your midfield. The best teams in the league have massive rotations in the midfield, and it's no surprise Brisbane are at the top of that ladder. Dogs, they've got 100 players that can go there. St Kilda, my big call is I actually think their midfield is one of the strongest in the league in terms of rotation. Windy, where do you stand on a bit of the Windy Miller? I like a little bit of Windy.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. A mate in our Dynasty League traded him out last night. So I had a look into his numbers. And so he jumped last year from 60 odd average to 80. And then in the preseason, he had that massive 140 game or whatever it was. So there's a lot of hype on him. The question is, can he take that 80 and can he jump it up again in a team that's added Sam Flanders, last year has brought in Jack McRae, has Naz running through the midfield permanently, has Tom De Koning, who's going to take another 105 points, and also has Jack Sinclair rotating through that midfield. So that's probably 5 guys who are going to average 100 plus, or you'd be pretty confident averaging 100 plus. Can he break in and be the 6th guy? I find it hard to believe when you've got guys like Philippou who's going to rotate through there. There's going to be just a general lift, I think, with this St Kilda team with scoring across the board. I think we might see dips from their forwards, but lifts in other areas. So for me, the risk is a little too high. But if you believe he can make the jump, he's going to give you value. But he's also a guy that if he starts to make that jump, you can get him later on at probably the same price. So he's pretty risky start. I think he's a watch and see for me.
He's that awkward price as well. Just looking at him, 450, it's that horrible price, isn't it? Where you want him to kind of score at a premium.
Yeah, I think you'd rather go down to Sam Flanders at 350 odd or up to Sinclair at 600 odd. That 450 price mark for a guy with some question marks over him is awkward.
Langy asking, was that John O'Baroque?
What, in the media? Who?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Jono.
This is a good one here before we come on to Collingwood. I've been kind of a nerd here, and I'm looking at like the under 200k that I've tried to use my draft expertise here, Lekdog, against the world. But what rookies with low ownership are you looking at? So, like looking here, like Lockie Jacques, I'd imagine he'll go back up. But if you go 30%, you draw your line as points of difference. Blamiers is that incredible. Can I just say, Tom Blamiers, we talked about him last week, didn't we?
Did.
Like, honestly, I'm telling you now, Tom Blamiers, big call, top 5 scorers at North Melbourne. Lock that in. Absolute gun footballer. He's Tom McCarthy for them. That is how good he is. But Lockie Jacques is under 30. Tom Blamiers is. Jack Carroll.
If he breaks in, 30. I know you have him in your team.
He's
Super Blue Iris asks a question about Link McCarthy, who I'm assuming is in less than 30%. In fact, I'm confident is in less than 30%. 170k forward, veteran, locked into the best 22, will play pretty much every game, has been playing in halfback and half forward, but he can and historically has been able to score 70 to 80 points as a forward. So I think he's a fantastic selection. I don't think he's going to be in many teams, would be my guess. He's in my team.
I'll tell you how much the link is.
He's just the sort of guy
what?
that
Jesus, 3%.
yeah. So people think of him as this. He's a little overpriced. They think of him as a bit of a key forward, but really that's not what he is. He's a bit of a connector. He can kick goals, and we've seen them throw him back. So that's the sort of guy I love picking. Is a guy who's just going to play every week, and people are scared off by the price. So for me, he's probably leading my cheap rookies, and I don't have the list in front of me. I think Jack Carroll's another good one if he can break into that St Kilda team. There's that, what's his name? I don't know his price, from Geelong. He was in St Kilda's academy last year, but they didn't pick him up. Or the year before. It'll come to me when we get to them. Hoffman. I don't know if he's going to get into Geelong's team, and I'm unsure of his price. I'm assuming he's not too expensive. He's one that interests me as well.
There's one that I want to ask you to answer the under Bombers Rockets fan. Looking at ownership for rookies, Doveston is hardly owned, right? And I thought he looked the pick of the draftees that I've seen so far, almost guaranteed to start for them. We've seen players score incredibly well as well from that type of role. Pinch hitting in the midfield already as well. What are your thoughts on Doveston? 135, so he's nicely priced.
He's a guy that probably has been penciled in as a small forward in people's heads, which means they're probably not considering him. I think that ownership will jump by the time we get to round one. It's just a matter of juggling it and going, are you going to take a punt on him, or would you rather fill your team with veterans like Dev Robertson, who's a rookie price player at 123K, who you're pretty confident are going to get games and play midfield time or favourable roles. So a bit of a balancing act. But the other thing that always happens in round one is we get to round one and we go, oh, I thought we'd have 12 forward rookies. We've actually only got 5. So I think his ownership will jump. And I think absolutely, if you think he's going to be consistently in that team, you should pick him.
So we go on to Collingwood. Collingwood were an interesting one in pre-season because they basically rolled out their VFL team, which ironically, as luck would have it, they probably have to play a VFL team this week as well, with injuries have curtailed them. Some interesting takeouts, though. Josh Dacos, in that he's back to halfback by the looks of it, spurting on the ball. He went over a point per minute. Looked really good as well when he went up on the ball, which we expect Dan Houston to come back into that side and take them halfback minutes, but looked very clean. Sam Swadlin and Tyan Prindable, though. I've been harping on about Tyan Prindable. Another impressive game. Interestingly enough, not named in anyone's provisional best 23. And we imagine he has to wait, but he looks like a guy who can score.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. Like, shout out to my mate Patch, who does a lot of work for SuperCoach and Code Sports. He's a massive on Tyan Prindable being in this Collingwood team, and he's traded for him in about every league I'm in with him. He like, if he's named, you pick him, because I just don't see a world where he's not in this team. Collingwood are in a weird spot a little bit with their list this year, and from SuperCoach, there's not too many that excite me, but your Nick Dacoses and your Prindables, I currently are penciled into my team. Josh Dacos, by the way, is a great selection. Not one that I will be making because I'm scared, but he has a history of scoring and there's no reason not to pick him, to be honest. He will be in almost no teams, would be my guess.
He looked really good. I mean, I was huge on Sam Swadlin as well, the WA Sam Cumming. If you're from WA or Tasmania, evidently no one cares in the AFL draft system. But basically, Swadlin was doing what Cumming was doing, and that was a big part of my draft content. He was the bargain buy. He was Cumming without the marketing. He absolutely tore this game apart from 25% of time played. Like, he was... I watched this game and I was genuinely like, I know everyone says Collingwood are old, but watching Swadlin go, Give him 6-8 weeks. I think he plays over some of the more senior players.
Yeah, Pies they just don't seem to love to start the season with their young guys, do they? There's quite a few players that they've drafted over the last, like Di Matteo. I'm going to keep talking about him. It's like, what does he need to do to get into this team? At least get a game. Collingwood seem to be still preferring the older players, which isn't great for us. But what it does mean, if these guys don't start the season, is we've got downgrade targets down the road. What we want is rookies to really be evenly spread throughout the year. So if Printable comes in round 6, it's actually probably better for us than him playing round 1.
Well, I mean, I penciled in. I've got a feeling if Collingwood are horrible, by the by, if you look at their players they need to replace, Scott Pendlebury presumably is going to be playing a lot more halfback than playing on the midfield. So I was like, there's Tyan Prindable. You try and feed him in there. Tyan Prindable is the future of that position. Then I look at Steele Sidebottom. I was like, Ed Allen is the natural replacement, I think, Longwood. And he was pretty solid this game. And then talking about Swadlin, I was like, okay, this here is a logical improvement straight away that you can throw him in for any of the older guys that you want. So I'm with you, and I agree with Super Blue. They don't play players until they have to. But just looking long term, if something goes wrong with Collingwood's season, we saw it when they finished 18th a few years ago, the year they got Nick Dacos. They're not scared to plan for the future now and just throw the players in and get them in. So that's what I'm kind of looking at. Like, where do you stand on De Goey? So I know, speaking to a few of you Supercoach nerds, the mere mention of him is a little bit like in Harry Potter when you say Voldemort. It's like you're not allowed to say his name out loud. De Goey, so a mutual friend of mine is very close with there, but I know he's been training since the start of November. He's in the shape of his life. Where do you stand on De Goey? Because they've pretty much confirmed he's going to be a 70-30 midfielder.
I think,
he's beautiful.
Is he mid only? Is he mid only this year?
I believe, because he's not in my team, my mate will tell me off, he's mid-forward, mate.
So he's an interesting player as a forward option. I think it's seeing is believing. So he's always got the ceiling and he's always at the right price, but he never quite stitches it together and plays enough or plays consistently or plays fit enough. So he's not a guy I would start. He's a guy I'd watch closely as a forward upgrade target. Because the thing is, what's he priced at? Like, I'm going to guess.
Three.
Don't worry. I won't guess. You're going. You've spoiled it.
No, go on.
What's he, like 390?
Oh, mate, 320.
Oh, so that's very cheap. That's an interesting selection. The thing is, if he's going to outperform a 320 price tag, but if he's averaging 80, it's not going to outperform it by much. If he's averaging 90, you can jump on in a couple of weeks for nothing. So I think he's still a watch for me. And the guy that I'm actually interested in as a breakout option, jumping his average from sort of 80 odd up to 100, is actually Ned Long. I'm not going to pick Ned Long, but he's a guy that I'm watching. Yeah, De Goey is a watch.
Super Blue asks, he's on the Layla train, which I don't mind this call because he looks like he's going to get a big senior role this year. Yeah. Would you be more willing to go Sammy L over De Goey?
To be honest, I'm probably avoiding both myself because I just don't like relying on that second year bump because a lot of the time it doesn't happen. That has reduced somewhat since players got more professional over the last few years, but it's similar to the Riley Sanders thing we spoke about before, where everyone jumped on expecting that second year jump as a forward option moving into the midfield, and it just didn't come. For me, he's another guy that you can probably watch and see and jump on if you need to. It doesn't hurt that much. If a guy starts at 330 and you miss the first price rise and you jump on when he's 390, it's really, in the scheme of things, not that much of a difference. I just want a little bit more data. Having said that, a 300k player in the forward line who is likely to play midfield, if you believe that it's Layla or you believe it's De Goey or you believe it's someone else, that they're going to be the guy that jumps, pick him. Back yourself.
Lekdog just left me mid.
I'm back.
Oh, he's
I'm
back.
My alarm started going off.
Oh, I was going to say he's either getting a call. Yeah, so you cut off just mid when you said
back yourself if you think that you have the forward that's going to jump out and play midfield. Back yourself. I'm just happy to wait and see on those guys, knowing that their price isn't going to jump too much too quickly.
Question from MJ Coaches Panel. Make sure as well, if you are in Melbourne and you want a ticket, we've given away some tickets to our beautiful members for this event. If anyone is interested in going that's in chat now and is in Melbourne, let it be known and we will donate a ticket for the Coaches Panel live show. The link is here. MJ is a great friend of the channel.
He's a good man.
Absolute hero of a human being. So I want to see as many of you, have a beer with you and have a chat. So if you are, let me know in the comments, say you're in Melbourne, Pom, I want a ticket, and we will hook you up. But MJ asks us a question. Who's a player we wanted to pick, but we couldn't find a way to squeeze him in?
That's a really tough one. Pre-season, it was Rory Laird before we saw a couple of games. Couldn't find a way to fit him in, and I really liked him. I've gone off the boil a bit since watching those pre-season games. Maybe I think he's in your team, but Tom De Koning is a guy I'd really like to pick at R2 and just can't quite bring myself to do it with the Rowan Marshall question mark. So I'll say Tom De Koning.
Look, I've gone through many changes in my team in the last 7 to 10 days as I've started to get a bit more knowledge and get a bit more of understanding of my team. There's a guy that I am gutted that I can't fit in my team at the minute, and I do think I may regret it. Just from watching him in pre-season, I just think he's going to be huge this year, and it might surprise people, but it is Joshua Dacos. I was watching him and going, 500k, he's 11% owned. I actually think he's going to... Now everyone knows what Nick Dacos is about. I imagine Nick Dacos gets a bit more attention. I think Josh Dacos is the beneficiary of his brother getting a little bit more attention in 2026.
It is a hard question, though, from MJ, because you want everyone when they're in form. I'm actually going to revert back to my initial team, which had LDU in it, because I want him so bad. I'm just going back to V1, start the team again.
And I've got to say, because I'm a coward, I didn't do it. Scottish Suitcase is up there as well. Super Blue, the Scottish handbag. He is a fan favourite. So what I'll do, chat, is Lekdog, if you want to send me a screenshot of your team.
There's no way I could do that.
Oh, okay. Well, you can just
I'm
tell
just
us
on
anyway.
my
phone. So you should be able to see this now. This is Team Pom in Oz. Can I still, from memory... It won't let me do it anymore. Here you are. So I've gone Nasir, Blakey, Tom McCarthy, Caleb Windsor, Kiddy Coleman, Jai Sarong, and then I've got Lockie Jacks and Michael Selwood on that. What are you thinking of that, Lekdog? How have I done there? I've tried to pack that with proven talent, but guys that I think are going to go mental. And I am Tom McCarthy's biggest fan outside his mum and dad.
You are. No, Pom, I like the structure. Kitty Coleman, I think we got a bit scared off after that first Pracky match, but he is also still currently in my team. I think 3 primos and then a couple of, we'll call them rookie price players in Windsor and Coleman. They're elevated, but we think their roles are solid enough. I think it's good. I actually think in the end, I'm probably going to end up going a 2 premium defense, because I just think there's that much value from the rookies and the cheapies. But getting Tom McCarthy in there, I still haven't convinced myself on him, and not because I don't think he can score, just because I'm scared of backing a guy that's only played 6 games. But the more I talk to you, the more I want him in my team. I think this is a good setup.
Telling you, best player in the league, right? Heard it here first. This is the midfield, right? So I really like this midfield. I really like this midfield, and I've convinced myself. So I've gone Zach Butters, Nick Dacos, Caleb Sarong, Connor Rosie, Sam Walsh, Jagger Smith, Will Dersma, and then my M6 is going to be either Jones, Brody, Carroll, or Blamires.
Yeah.
So I've taken a bit of a risk with my last midfielder, but one of them will play. All the others are in and around the team. I'm looking at other rookie options, but I'm set in stone. I have to go into this year with Dacos, Butters, Sarong, Rosie, Walsh, and Smith. No if, buts, maybes.
Yeah. So again, guns and rookies is a great strategy in the midfield because it's where your points come from. It's where your cash comes from. I also have Butters,
Hi, mate.
Dacos, Sarong, and Walsh. I don't have Rosie. I don't currently have Dersma because I've got Parrish and Hayden Young. I need to see what that Hayden Young injury was like before I make a final call on him. And then all of those rookies, whichever ones get named, are great. And then we know that there's going to be other guys we can replace the ones that don't get named with. So it's a very solid strategy. Your midfield gives you a little more room for flexibility with upgrades than mine does, because by having the two 300k players, I'm basically locked into them for most of the year, whereas you've got a lot of flexibility, which is probably the smarter way to go.
Well, if I do this, Tom Blamires is basically a rebounded Tom McCarthy. Yeah. Night, mate. Love you.
Nah.
So Tom McCarthy is 500. That's basically 500 for 99k. Like, Tom's a genius.
Connor Rosie is the guy that probably is the real answer that I really want to put in my team, but I just haven't found a way to do it. He was in my V1 team in my midfield because I can't pick him in defender because I've got stupid self-imposed rules. I need to try and find a way to fit him in. Basically, it's going to be at the cost of one of the 300k guys, but I love him as a selection. He's just so good.
Well, then my rucks, we talked about it a lot last couple of shows, going R2, R3 cheap. I've done it, and I'm putting all my eggs into Luke. I'm actually a midfielder. Jackson with McAndrew and Liam. I am Cowton's next Premiership ruckman Reedy.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. There's obviously risk. People will be concerned that if McAndrew leaves the team, although I think Nick's backs his players in, I think he'll play consistent footy. And we want Reedy to play. We know he's playing at least one game. We don't really care if he plays or not, but it's nice that if he does. Love this structure. And there's heaps we can do with the flex spot. If it doesn't work, we can move a underperforming premium on. Or we can get rid of a rookie that's made cash and bring in Sam Draper when he's fit and healthy. Like, there is a lot of flexibility we can do this year. And I think locking ourselves into 2-gun ruckman is historically the decision we make. I just think there's enough interest and question marks in how that all shapes up that I want to go value here and lock in points in the midfield, or with your Harry Sheezels, or with your premium defenders.
Call me crazy, Lek, right? Call me crazy. But I actually think McAndrew is like a lock. So covering Adelaide at length last year, McAndrew was killing it in the Sandsful. Scored 90 this week. It's been a long discussed thing with Adelaide that as much as we love Riley O'Brien, he is slower than my nan, and my nan passed away when I was in year 11, so do the math. Fucking slow. Yeah. I actually think he's a lock all year.
Look, I do too. I do too. I think the question marks are understandable, but I think the way that Adelaide roll, I think he's just in the team. And I have a AFL Fantasy Dynasty League, and last year that has Riley O'Brien as my number one ruckman. And last year I took Lockie McAndrew with a view that this year he would be their number one ruckman, or at least co-rucking with Riley O'Brien, because he had that history of what he'd done in the VFL and for Sydney when he was on their list briefly. So, or the equivalent of the VFL, whatever it was when he was playing at Sydney. I like it. I like him in the team. I think Reedy is going to probably be in and out of the Blues team, but I think they're going to A1 plan is going to be to have him in the team as a relief ruckman. He's probably only going to average 50 or 60, but in the weeks when you don't have a ruckman, it just gives you something. It's good. I love it.
You never know, Tiger Time. Can you imagine if they did an English person in the AFL? AFL would implode. McAndrew, if they lose the first 2 games, he'll get touched up by Cameron and English.
Maybe.
I understand the reservations, but I think when you watch McAndrew play, I don't think he's that type of ruckman. I actually think it's more of a structural piece. That I actually thought, and this was my big comment, Adelaide's lost to Fremantle because running Riley O'Brien. It looks like they can handle. I actually think he might. So I loved him in Sandford. Caveat, when Carlton sold TDK, McAndrew was the guy that I wanted, just based on his Sandford form.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned. Yeah, there's a chance that he gets dropped after 2 games, but I just don't think that's how the Crows really roll. They don't seem to make those. Once you're in, you seem to be in.
I'll be fine as well because Tom Blammers is going to get the biggest pay increase in the history of the game. He'll be a 600k footballer by round 3. So
Yeah,
I'll just sell him, make my money, and bring in TDK. But my forward line, I am really, really happy with my forward line. And you'll see I've got Blackiston as a cheat code because he is a ruck now as me flex. But I've got a lot of options there. Lombard, Doverston, but I've gone Pickett, Track, Sheasel, Flanders, and midfield Philip Poe. Seeing him play midfield again, I think that's money. And Devitt Robertson as me backup if it all goes wrong. Who, let's be honest, anyone who is on the Eagles list should be playing round 1.
yeah. I mean, look, it's a little bit boring. 6 of those 8 players are in my team and are locked in. Sheasel, no brainer. Petrarca, like I know Melbourne fans were like trying to talk themselves out of him as a Supercoach selection, but he's lock. Sam Flanders lock, Philippou lock, Robertson lock. And then Cozzy Pickett, a lot of upside there in a player priced at, sub 500k. He's exciting. And the thing is, most forwards are shit when it comes to Supercoach, and he's going to be better than most forwards. So I think it's not a risk having him. It's a pretty solid forward line. I can't quite remember who I have at F3 in my team, to be honest with you. So I'll have to revisit that for when we do our next video/live stream.
I'm telling you, Pickett, honestly, I am full on the Pickett. You see, look, China, I agree with you, mate. I can see the risk, but I just don't think he'll be as bad as... I don't think they'll lose them games. Like, looking at the fixtures, I think they beat Collingwood. Maybe lose to the Doggies, because the Doggies are good, even though it's at AO. But I think they might actually surprise. I think...
And yeah, even if they do go 0-5, why do we think it's McAndrew that's the one that's going to get cut from
I can see China's point, though. If their if midfield gets overrun, there would be a great argument to say, okay, well, our midfield didn't get overrun when we had the big guys.
Yeah, so, I guess.
Let's bring him in. This is great by Super Blue. I love Devon Robertson. I am a big Devon Robertson man. So
been holding him to much disgust for about 6 years in that same fantasy dynasty league. So it's about time he paid you back.
Fans are invested in Devon Robertson because when we traded up to get Sam Philp, we all believed it was Devon Robertson. So Devon Robertson is like the great what if. So we're kind of invested in that guy's career because obviously, as you know, Sam Philp now is working in Audi. But we did trade up for him. So, I mean, there is that. But good guy is Sam Philp, though, incidentally. Good guy. But, thank you very much for joining us live from that. Hopefully, we can do this live if you guys enjoyed it. We've enjoyed the engagement. It's been good. But, I figured that this time next week, we can play this back and laugh.
How wrong we were.
Well, yeah, do you know what I mean? Laugh as we find out that Nick Dacos is getting tagged out of the game and averaging 12. Jai Sarong has 42 kicked on him by Harry Mackay. Absolute dud. And at least my big calls aren't playing this week, which is good. So Tom McCarthy
gives you another week of relief.
It gives me another week. But chat, thank you very much. Like and subscribe. Lek, what have you got? You're everywhere. Every time I open a paper, I see there's I actually give a shout out to Code Sports, who actually called you your full name today.
I know it's a big change. Except now people know how to find me and give me feedback. But no, they've started using some social graphics on my stuff. Got one more piece coming up for them, which is all the undrafted guys that you need to pick ahead of round one. So post round 0, I'm going to be looking at all the ownership in Supercoach draft, and I'll be finding the guys that are underrepresented and telling you who to pick up on your waiver wire. I'll be at the game, the Collingwood St Kilda game. So if you're around, say g'day if you see me. Otherwise, yeah, I'll be back on couple of Pom shows next week. Selection panel and Supercoach, and yeah, I'll be around.
And if you are in Melbourne on the Sunday, if you can't get to the game, we're at the Collingwood Wine and Whiskey event for Coaches panel. So big friend of the channel is MJ. Great human being. I have got a ticket to give away. So a couple of members have reached out and they're coming. So if you want to see that, you can see the elusive Mrs. Pom as well. Mrs. Pom will be entertaining. She's a lot more entertaining and better to speak to than me. I like speaking to Mrs. Pom and I talk to myself a lot. So come down there. But there's some absolute superstars there. There's MJ, there's Supercoach DR, there's me. I'm just reading his thing. Mini Monk is there. So there's quite a lot of guys and girls there that you all know. Should be a good time. We're going to be chatting a few shit about Supercoach and then having a few beers and watching this new midfield of St Kilda charge for the title.
Should be exciting, Pom. It should be bloody exciting. They put on a good show.
Yeah, can't wait for it. But thank you very much, chat. See you soon. See you on the watch along tomorrow. We've got a tipping video coming out tomorrow as well. Pom's big predictions. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see you next week.